Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we are unlocking the ultimate key to one of the absolutely most sought after, yet honestly pretty complex 55-plus active living experiences in all of Southern California. I'm talking about Laguna Woods Village. Now, if you or a loved one have ever even considered moving to a premier retirement community, you know the process can feel a bit like a maze. But today we're going to look at an incredible resource that turns that overwhelming maze into a clear, sunlit pathway. We're exploring the Welcome to the Village guidebook series. And let me tell you, this is basically a masterclass in making complex real estate and community transitions totally accessible for everyone.
Okay, let's dive into this. The aspirational dream of Laguna Woods Village is incredibly alluring, isn't it? Just look at the sun-drenched pathways, beautifully maintained landscapes, and this really active, thriving lifestyle. It looks idyllic. But, well, here's the reality check. Buying into a community like this isn't exactly like buying your standard house in the suburbs. There are hidden administrative challenges, strict financial thresholds, and totally unique ownership structures that can easily catch an unprepared buyer totally off guard. The beauty is real for sure, but so is the paperwork.
And honestly, that is exactly why this guidebook series exists in the first place. Just listen to this incredible quote from current residents Son and Scott Harrison. They said, "Welcome to the Village became our absolute lifesaver. Our transition was smooth, predictable, and, dare we say, stress-free." I mean, that stress-free part is absolutely huge. Without proper guidance, the strict financial reviews and those cooperative ownership differences can be completely overwhelming. This book acts like a shield against all that stress, which is absolutely vital when you're just trying to plan a peaceful retirement.
So, here is our roadmap for today. First, the Laguna Woods Challenge. Second, meet your complete guidebook. Third, what readers will learn. Fourth, who should read this. And finally, available editions and purchasing details. Let's get to it. Section 1. The Laguna Woods Challenge. Navigating unique co-ops and strict HOAs.
You know, it is completely valid to feel stressed here, because you aren't just buying a home, you're buying into a highly regulated ecosystem. We're talking about strict 180-day asset maturity rules. That means your money needs to have been sitting in your accounts for 6 full months just to qualify. Then there are complex co-op ownership models instead of traditional deeds, and pretty daunting homeowner association financial reviews. So, why is it like this? Well, these communities actually trace their roots all the way back to the original 1962 Leisure World blueprint created by developer Ross W. Cortez. He established highly specific qualification rules to ensure the long-term financial stability of the whole community. It's fantastic for the community's health, but man, it often confuses the average modern buyer. Section 2. Meet your complete guidebook. The ultimate insider's solution.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down the author's background. If the complex rules of Laguna Woods are a lock, this guidebook is the key. Author Karl Chu brings an incredible unique perspective. On the left, you have 30 years of professional real estate experience. On the right, 15 years of lived, daily insider knowledge as an actual resident of Laguna Woods Village. So this isn't just a broker giving you a sales pitch. This is a neighbor who understands the mutual boards, the escrow timelines, and what life is actually like behind those gates on a random Tuesday afternoon.
Karl Chu operates under RE Pro Real Estate, and his deep dedication to helping senior families really shines through this entire work. He saw that prospective buyers desperately needed a clear, honest resource to navigate these waters, so he just went ahead and created one. His authority comes from both his professional credentials and his genuine desire to see his neighbors thrive.
Section 3. What readers will learn. Inside the pages of the guide.
The contents here are incredibly comprehensive. The book literally breaks down the 3 property types, comparing co-ops, condos, and tower apartments, so you know exactly what you're buying. It provides a stringent financial qualification guide detailing FICO score requirements and monthly income calculations. It even preps you for the mandatory HOA board interview. Plus, it gives you a realistic breakdown of 2026 living costs, including HOA fees and insurance, and lists vital Orange County local resources like medical facilities. It rapidly dissolves a buyer's anxiety by giving you exact, up-to-date standards.
And I love this part. The guidebook also distills the notoriously overwhelming escrow and approval journey into 5 clear, completely manageable steps. We go from your initial search to proving your financial qualifications, navigating the strict escrow timeline, passing that HOA board interview, and finally closing escrow. It truly transforms what feels like a mountain of confusing paperwork into a simple, step-by-step checklist.
And this brilliantly illustrates what happens next. Once those 5 steps are finally completed, the guidebook basically transitions into a lifestyle manual. It introduces you to 7 sprawling clubhouses, over 250 active clubs and organizations, pools, and championship golf courses. It shows you exactly how to plug into the community and find your people from day one.
Section 4. Who should read this? Identifying the target audience.
You know, the audience for this is actually wonderfully diverse. Naturally, yes, it's for seniors considering relocating to Laguna Woods, but importantly, it's also a massive benefit for existing current residents who just need a comprehensive reference guide or a community directory for local contacts and emergency protocols. It is an absolutely invaluable tool for adult children who are trying to help their parents plan for retirement from a distance. Even real estate professionals and researchers studying American senior living models rely on this exact text.
Section 5. Available editions and purchasing. Finding your perfect copy.
The author really honors the community's rich demographics by publishing a series of 4 distinct books. This isn't just one book translated poorly. These are tailored editions specifically designed to break down crucial information without translation barriers. With English and simplified Chinese editions available among others, it proves that this aspirational lifestyle is truly accessible to multiple ethnic communities.
So the crucial point is this clean matrix of accessibility, right here. There are 4 complete language editions: English, Korean, Traditional Chinese, and Simplified Chinese. Each edition is available in both paperback and eBook formats. You can find them globally on platforms like Amazon, Google Play for instant digital downloads, and the Ingram Spark distribution network for bookstores worldwide. The digital ebooks are an incredibly accessible $9.99, while the full-color physical paperbacks range from $19.99 to $34.99 depending on the specific edition. Literally, no matter what language you speak or how you prefer to read, there is an edition ready to guide you.
Which really leaves us with one final thought. Your retirement years are meant to be your golden years, right? They shouldn't be spent tangled up in bureaucratic red tape. So what could your life in Laguna Woods actually look like if you didn't have to spend your first 6 months navigating a confusing maze entirely on your own? Search for Welcome to the Village by Karl Chu online today, grab the edition that fits you best, and find out for yourself. Thanks for exploring with us.
So imagine this. You're selling the house you've lived in for, 40 years. You pack up your entire life into these little cardboard boxes, hand over the keys to the new owners, and you just drive off toward retirement.
Sounds like the dream, right?
Right. You pull up to the gates of your new 55-plus active senior community in Southern California, and you're expecting this quiet, simple life. But almost immediately you realize you haven't just moved to a new neighborhood.
Oh, no.
Not at all. You have essentially immigrated to a private, highly regulated micronation. Has its own financial laws, a grueling 45-day admissions process, and get this, its own television station.
Yeah, it is a massive culture shock for most people. The traditional rules of buying a house are just completely thrown out the window the second you approach those gates. It's a regulatory labyrinth, really.
Which is exactly why we are doing a deep dive today into a really unique set of sources. We're looking at a suite of 4 guidebooks designed to just completely decode these massive senior communities. We are specifically focusing on Laguna Woods Village and its original 1962 blueprint, Leisure World Seal Beach.
And, we really shouldn't think of these books as just fluffy neighborhood guides or like marketing brochures. They function as absolute survival manuals.
Survival manuals is exactly right. And they were written by Karl Chu. He's a broker with Repro Real Estate.
Right. And what makes these texts so vital is his background. He brings 30 years of real estate experience to the table. But more importantly, he has actually lived inside Laguna Woods Village for over 15 years.
So he's not just some outsider looking in.
Exactly. He isn't just an observer. He has personally navigated the HOA battles, the rule changes, the daily reality of this environment. He's lived it.
He's the ultimate insider.
Yeah.
And when you look at the sheer scale of what he's writing about, you really start to realize why a massive, comprehensive roadmap is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the physical footprint of this place because, wow,
It's huge.
Laguna Woods Village isn't some sleepy little condo complex at the end of a cul-de-sac. We are talking about 2,100 acres.
It's basically a city.
Over 18,500 residents living in more than 12,000 dwellings. That is larger than a lot of actual towns in the U.S.
It's staggering. And because it's effectively a city within a city, The first major hurdle any prospective resident hits is the real estate structure itself.
Right.
It's completely alien to the average buyer. The guidebooks spend a really significant amount of time breaking down the 3 distinct property types available because, honestly, making the wrong choice here dictates your entire financial future.
Okay, so let's walk through those because this totally blew my mind. When you say property types, I think most people assume you mean like a 1-bedroom versus a 2-bedroom.
Right, yeah.
But you actually mean the legal ownership structure.
Precisely. So the most common one, and arguably the most confusing for newcomers, is the co-op, or stock cooperative.
Okay.
In a co-op, you do not actually buy the real estate. You don't get a deed to the land or the structure at all.
Wait, really? So what are you buying?
You purchase a stock certificate in the overarching corporation that owns the entire building. And that stock certificate grants you an exclusive right to occupy a specific unit.
That is a massive mental leap. I mean, if you've owned a traditional suburban house for 4 decades where you literally own the dirt, the walls, the roof, and suddenly you're told you're just buying a piece of paper that lets you live in an apartment, that has to cause some serious friction.
Oh, it causes a lot of anxiety, which is exactly why the books dedicate so much space to explaining it. You have to understand that your financial liability is tied to the corporation.
Right, right.
Then the books detail the condominiums. This is a bit more traditional. You do actually receive a grant deed, and you own the airspace of your unit.
Okay, that feels a bit more normal.
Yeah. And finally, there are the tower apartments, which offer this completely different, almost hotel-like living structure with congregate dining and entirely different maintenance rules.
So you basically have to pick your legal structure before you even get to pick out your paint colors.
Exactly.
And these guidebooks, they don't just explain what these are. They offer a highly detailed 5-step home buying process. It takes you from the initial search all the way to the close of escrow. And that escrow process is a very strict 45 days.
And let me tell you, during those 45 days, the financial vetting is intense.
Yeah, intense is a good word for it. Reading through these sources, I noticed so much terminology that sounds like a totally foreign language if you aren't already initiated.
Oh, for sure.
Like the author mentions exact 2026 HOA fees, HO6 insurance policies, and GRF trust facility fees. Let me pause you right there. For anyone listening who hasn't bought a condo, what exactly is an HO6 policy? And honestly, what on earth is the Golden Rain Foundation?
Yeah, that's a really great distinction to make because in a co-op or a condo, the overarching corporation owns the exterior of the building. So the roof, the siding, the foundational structure.
Right.
An HO6 policy is a very specific type of homeowner's insurance that only covers the interior of your unit.
So like your couch and your TV.
Your personal property, your specific renovations, and crucially, your liability. Like, if your bathtub overflows into the unit below yours, you have to have this policy, and the community literally dictates the terms of it.
And the GRF, the Golden Rain Foundation.
Yeah.
Because I got to say, it sounds like a secret society.
It does have a bit of an imposing name, but the Golden Rain Foundation, or GRF, is essentially the master trust. Think of it as the overarching governing body that owns and manages all the massive communal amenities.
Okay, so they run the fun stuff.
Exactly. While your specific HOA manages your building, the GRF manages the 7 different clubhouses, the 250-plus clubs, the fitness centers, the championship golf courses, the private bus system, and that television station you mentioned earlier. Yeah, so when the book lists the GRF trust facility fees, it's breaking down exactly what you are paying to maintain that entire citywide infrastructure.
Which brings up a huge point about predictability. When you are retiring and moving on to a fixed income, financial surprises are your absolute worst enemy.
Unquestionably.
An unexpected fee is terrifying. By laying out these exact fees and insurance requirements, the book is basically neutralizing the fear of the unknown.
That is the core value proposition of these guides, really. It transitions the buyer from a state of being totally overwhelmed by acronyms and hidden costs to a state of being completely empowered. You get a predictable, realistic monthly budget.
But, you know, getting to that point of actually paying the budget requires getting past the gatekeepers first.
Right.
Listening to this list of requirements, this doesn't even sound like buying a house. It sounds like applying for a high security clearance.
It really does.
Let's look at the financial qualification guide the book outlines. They don't just check your credit score, though there are rigid FICO requirements. There is something called the 180-day asset maturity rule. Can you explain the mechanics of that? Because it genuinely stopped me in my tracks.
This is one of the most common stumbling blocks for newcomers, and it's a perfect example of why you really can't just wing it when moving into these communities.
Yeah.
So the 180-day asset maturity rule means that the financial assets you are using to qualify for residency must have been sitting in your accounts consistently and safely for at least 6 months prior to your application.
Wait, so let's say I sell my 4-bedroom house in Los Angeles today. I have $1 million in cash sitting in my checking account tomorrow morning. I can't just take that cash and instantly buy into Laguna Woods.
In many cases, no.
That's wild.
The community wants to see absolute stability. They want proof that your money isn't volatile. They do not want to see funds that were recently borrowed or a sudden crypto windfall that might just disappear next week. They require a heavily documented history of financial consistency.
I mean, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second. It sounds incredibly elitist. If I have the cash in hand right now and I'm ready to buy the property, why should a panel of neighbors get to interrogate the history of my bank account?
It feels invasive, certainly. I totally get that. But it all goes back to that co-op structure we talked about earlier. In a stock cooperative, you and your neighbors are legally and financially entangled.
Oh, right. Because of the corporation.
Exactly. If you default on your monthly assessments, the corporation, which means your neighbors, has to absorb that loss to keep the lights on and the water running for everyone else.
Oh.
So the strict financial vetting and the mandatory HOA board interview, where you actually have to sit in front of current residents for approval, it isn't about being snobby. It's about mutual protection. The community is strictly protecting its own financial solvency.
Okay, yeah. When you frame it as mutual protection, the interview makes a lot more sense. You're basically interviewing to be a business partner.
That's a great way to put it.
So I completely understand why a newcomer absolutely needs this 150-page manual just to navigate the financial hazing process. But let me push back on another front here. Say I survive the 45-day escrow.
Okay.
I pass the interview. I move in. 5 years go by. I know my neighbors. I know the bus schedule. Why do I still need this book sitting on my kitchen counter?
Because the community is not static. These master plan cities are living organisms. The rules change, the medical resources update, the governance structures evolve. So for an existing resident, the book shifts from being an admissions guide to a long-term reference directory.
Ah, that makes sense.
It outlines the nearest top-tier medical facilities, like the Saddleback Medical Center, and it provides updated emergency contact protocols.
And there was a whole section on digital living that I thought was fascinating.
Yes, the guide features a really comprehensive breakdown of smart home technology and digital ecosystems tailored specifically for seniors. It basically provides a blueprint for aging in place safely.
Right, because aging in place isn't just about putting grab bars in the shower anymore. It's about connectivity.
Exactly. Think about it. How do you integrate a personal medical alert system with the community's 24/7 guard-gated security?
Right, if you fall at 2 a.m., how does the EMT actually get past the front gate and into your specific co-op unit?
Exactly. Or, on a more mundane level, how do you navigate the community's online portal to submit a maintenance request for a broken water heater? The book serves as a technical manual for daily survival.
And we know it works because the sources include testimonials from people who have actually used it.
Yeah.
There's this quote from residents Son and Scott Harrison, who called the book an absolute lifesaver.
Yeah, that's a great quote.
They explicitly said it took a transition that was completely overwhelming and turned it into a smooth, predictable process. It allowed them to focus on the excitement of their retirement rather than the anxiety of the paperwork.
Which is the ultimate goal, really. But you know, that success story brings up a much larger systemic issue within these communities. Laguna Woods and Leisure World are not monolithic. They are massive melting pots. They draw people from all over the globe who want to retire in Southern California. So a single guidebook written only in English, no matter how perfectly detailed it is simply not going to serve everyone effectively.
And this is where the project goes from being just a helpful real estate tool to something truly groundbreaking. Because the author, Karl Chu, didn't just write one book. He created an entire trilingual media ecosystem.
It's really impressive.
We're talking about 4 distinct, fully realized editions of this guidebook. You have English, Korean, Chinese traditional, and Chinese simplified.
And the target readership for this expansive format is broad, but it's highly intentional. It's designed for seniors actively relocating, of course, but also for the adult children who are doing the research for their aging parents.
That's a huge demographic.
Huge. It's also a desk reference for real estate professionals serving the senior market, and it's even utilized by researchers who are studying how American master plan senior living communities actually function.
Let's break down these 4 editions for a second, because the cultural nuances here are just brilliant. The English and Korean editions make immediate sense. But I think a lot of listeners might wonder why there are 2 separate Chinese versions.
Sure.
Because the core information, the rules about the HOA and the 180-day rule, it's all identical, right?
The information is identical, yes, but the physical script is not. And that distinction is absolutely vital for cognitive accessibility and reading comfort, especially for an older demographic.
Right, reading comfort is key.
So the simplified Chinese version specifically caters to readers who immigrated from mainland China, Singapore, and Malaysia, while the traditional Chinese version is tailored for residents from Taiwan, Hong Kong, and various overseas Chinese communities. By publishing both, the author ensures that a senior trying to comprehend complex legal and financial concepts can do so in the written script they have used their entire lives.
That level of care is incredible. It's like Chu created a specialized Rosetta Stone for retirement. He isn't just taking English words and running them through like Google Translate.
Exactly, no.
He is translating a uniquely American real estate concept like owning a stock cooperative or navigating a GRF trust fee into cultural and financial concepts that actually make sense to an immigrant senior.
And the safety implications of this cannot be overstated. Language barriers in a sprawling, gated senior community are not just a minor inconvenience. They are a massive hurdle for physical safety and overall quality of life.
Put us in that scenario. What does that actually look like on the ground?
Well, imagine being an 82-year-old Korean resident. There's a complex dispute with the HOA over water damage in your building. Or, say, there is a sudden update to the emergency medical protocols during a crisis. Or perhaps you just want to engage socially and join a ceramics club. But all the instructions, all the legal documents, and all the community broadcasts are in a language you struggle to comprehend. You can become isolated very, very quickly, despite living surrounded by 18,000 people.
You're essentially living in a paradise, but you're locked out of the operating system.
Precisely. The Korean edition of the book specifically highlights the robust local network available to mitigate this. It points out that there are nearly 200 retired medical professionals within the Korean community in the village alone.
Wow, that's amazing.
Plus highly active faith-based groups meeting in the clubhouses. So by providing these books in the native languages of the fastest-growing demographics, the author is directly increasing social engagement. He is giving non-English speaking residents the exact same power of information that native English speakers have enjoyed for decades.
It's incredibly empowering. It's really a masterclass in accessible design. So knowing that there is a perfectly tailored, culturally translated edition for almost any reader, whether they are sitting in California, Seoul, or Taipei, the natural next question is accessibility.
Right.
If someone listening right now needs to get this information into their parents' hands before a big move, how globally accessible is this media? Let's talk about the formats and where the general public can actually purchase them.
The purchasing and distribution strategy is just as intentional as the translations. First, let's look at the physical specifications. Every edition is printed in a full-color 8.5 by 11-inch format.
Which is the size of a standard sheet of printer paper, so that's a large, substantial book, like a workbook.
It is, and that large format was chosen specifically so the text and the layout are easy on aging eyes. Depending on the language, the books run between 130 and 153 pages, but they aren't just dense walls of legal text.
Nobody wants to read that.
Right. They are highly visual. They're packed with high-quality photographs, infographics mapping out the whole buying process, and really detailed reference appendices.
And as for where to buy them, these aren't pamphlets you have to drive to some local real estate office to find. They're globally distributed.
Correct.
So physical paperbacks can be ordered on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and through bookstores worldwide via the Ingram Spark distribution network.
And if you want the digital ebook versions, they are available for instant download on Google Play Books and Amazon Kindle. Listeners can find any of the 4 editions simply by searching for the title Welcome to the Village or by searching the author's name, Karl Chu, Laguna Woods, on those platforms.
What I found really brilliant when reviewing the sources was the high-low pricing strategy. The author didn't just slap a single premium price tag on everything. The pricing is tiered based on the format.
Yeah, it's very smart.
For the premium full-color physical paperbacks, whether you are buying the English edition on Amazon KDP or the traditional Chinese edition through Ingram Spark, the price is generally around $34.99. Though I noticed the Korean paperback on Amazon is listed at $19.99 right now.
Right.
But the digital versions, the ebooks on Kindle and Google Play, are uniformly priced at just $9.99 across almost all the translated editions.
And that dual format strategy is brilliant because it addresses the reality of how families actually manage elder care and relocation.
Exactly.
Let's look at a typical demographic scenario. You might have an 80-year-old parent who deeply prefers the tactile experience of the large physical book. They want to be able to dog-ear the pages, highlight the medical contact numbers, and just keep it physically accessible on their kitchen counter.
Right. It's a reassuring physical presence in the house.
Exactly. For them, the $34.99 paperback is a vital physical tool. But simultaneously, you have their 50-year-old daughter who lives in New York, and she's the one actually orchestrating this complex move to California.
Right. She's doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah. She doesn't need the physical book. She can instantly download the $9.99 ebook to her tablet from anywhere in the world. She can quickly search the text to understand the nuances of the 180-day asset maturity rule, and she can help her parents prep their finances for that daunting HOA board interview.
It's removing every possible friction point. By offering multiple formats at different price points, the author ensures the information reaches the people who need it, regardless of their geographical location or, their technological comfort level.
Ultimately, these guides are the ultimate tools for informed decision-making in an environment where ignorance can be incredibly costly, both financially and emotionally.
Absolutely. So what does this all mean? Let's bring it all together. Welcome to the Village and its leisure world counterpart are far, far more than real estate marketing. They are comprehensive, 150-page keys to unlocking a vibrant, secure, and highly regulated lifestyle.
They really are.
They take the intense fear and the guesswork out of what might be the most complex real estate transaction of a person's life. And they do it in 4 languages, ensuring that the safety, community, and incredible amenities of these micronations are accessible to everyone.
They offer a blueprint for navigating not just the purchase of a home, but the transition into a completely new phase of life.
Which leaves us with a final thought to ponder. We started by talking about the stakes of moving, of leaving your old home and entering this new hyper-organized world.
Right.
As America's population continues to age, these master-planned senior cities are only going to become more common and more complex. If a single neighborhood requires a 150-page trilingual manual, just understand its basic financial rules, its insurance policies, and its social structures. Are these gated communities representing the future of hyper-organized micronations within the U.S.? And if so, how might the unwritten rules of your own neighborhood look if they were suddenly codified, enforced, and published into a 150-page book? Think about that the next time you wave to your neighbor across the fence.